Fix-It Tony here. Thanks for clicking on the video. Apologize for the noise. That's a little desert dog who likes to pant. Anyway, also thank you guys. I really appreciate those who sent your well wishes. My dad did pass away last week, and it was unexpected, but I appreciate you guys and your messages. They definitely came through at a time that we definitely need to hear some things. So with that said, I do have the Camaro back in. We talked about it last time. It was going to need a AC compressor. This one locked up. I went ahead and removed the belt already. This does require some special tools. Not a lot of videos on how to do this, so I'm going to show you how to do it. We went ahead and got our new pieces from Rock Auto, and this comes from a company called GBT. I think it's on here somewhere, but I've had good luck with them. Their parts have been good, and they have a better warranty. So we're going to get started in the bottom here and work our way up. You don't need a lift or any of this, but it's a lot easier if you do. What we're going to do is get started on this side, and we have 2 bolts in the back here, and here, and then there's going to be 2 bolts right there in the front. So we're going to go ahead and crack these 2 loose first. The best way to get to this one is going to use a universal joint, especially if you're not able to get a lift. It's probably the easiest way to get to this. Just put a universal joint on it, go ahead and break her loose. And then once you do that one, we're just going to take them loose before we actually go up here and finish the job here in a second. But right now we're just going to break these bolts loose, and then we'll see how we're going to finagle this thing out of here. I forgot to mention too, you do have to have the system drained before you do this. Find a reputable shop. I have a couple of guys that do this for pretty inexpensively because it still had a full charge in there, so it didn't need necessarily to be recharged. It just needs somebody who's willing to capture my Freon. As long as there's not debris in it, they'll accept it, and then they'll use it as a core, so when I go to recharge it, it's not terribly expensive. These bolts were not very tight at all, actually. Each one popped out. I think you guys are going to see where I got in there on this one here, but it came up pretty easily. There was no big deal at all. So that one's loose there, and then there's one more at top. I think I can get it from down here, we'll see. And then I need to take the line loose, which is on the other side. All right, so we got them all loose. That bad boy up there is going to be best from the top, so we'll get this all loose and we'll take that one loose and then pop that out. It is important when you do the compressor, you do the deskidant, which is inside of the condenser, and replace the condenser. Don't try to skip replacing things, because most of the time there's junk in the lines. Even when you vacuum it out, it gets stuck in the condenser, and then you'll put a new compressor in there, and next thing you know, it's bad in no time too. So just do it right the first time. So we'll take these bolts. You can see where I actually removed the belt, and I removed the clutch off of this one, and there's clutch debris everywhere down here. This thing was going out and slowly, disintegrated itself. But they better get in here. It's important to go ahead and cut these zip ties loose, and you're going to replace them, because otherwise it's going to be hard to get that bolt out back there. So let's cut the zip ties off and remove that. All right, so you can see I go ahead and pull that out of the way. Now we can get this bolt out the rest of the way, and shouldn't collide, but I think it's going to stay with the clutch, with the compressor itself. Once it comes loose, it's going to collide with that line, and I really don't want to take that whole thing loose if I don't have to. Oh, never mind, it came right out. We're good. Just keep these in order. That one was longer, the lower one was shorter, and that one was longer. So we got those out. We'll get the last one on top done. Okie dokie, so she's loose, and you can see she's moving around there a little bit, which is fine, because we're going to go ahead and take that line back there loose, but we're going to do that from the top. Looks like it'll be easier from up there than it is from down here. And then got some stuff to take off upstairs to get the top done here. All right, so mine's gonna look different from yours because I have an air intake. I'm going to remove this air intake here, and then I'll be able to easily access where I need to get down here for the get the compressor out. And then because I've already removed the mount for the radiator, I can unmount the the condenser without having to remove much else. That should be pretty quick. All right, loosen this up, loosen that up, and go ahead and pull this apart. We're going to pull our injector out for the nitrous, pull this cover up like so, and the whole thing will come out as an assembly. We'll clog that up so no dirt gets in there, and we'll use this time to go and clean out our throttle body and everything. But now we have nice open space. We have plenty of access to get down here as needed. We can move this, because this is, we'll put that back on when we're done. To get down here to deal with the condenser. I know it's hard to see, but we got a 13mm, a deep socket down in there, and we're just going to go and break that line loose. make sure you spend the money and have this discharge before you try to do this. There's still a little bit of pressure in there. It does happen sometimes. This was only vacuumed for a very short period of time, so we're probably going to lose a little bit of pressure, nothing crazy. Okay, we'll let that bleed out, and then we'll go ahead and take that. Right now the fun part, weaseling this thing out of here. There will be a connector we're going to have to take loose. She's around here somewhere. I'm trying to see where she's at. Right after we take this line off, you can see the line, we're going to have to pull that off here. And then we want to cover that as soon as possible so it doesn't get anything in there. Okay, so took that line loose, so it'll pop out. There's going to be a couple of rings that we're going to have to replace that are in there. Be very, very gentle. We're not trying to get dirt in there. So before we move it, do anything else, I'm going to go there with a rag and cover that. Flip her over here. You're going to have the connection down here for the lines. Oh, I have to go get a screwdriver. You just want to take the two legs off of that and then pull right off. It's a 50-50 chance these things will break. Of course, one of them broke. It does happen. As long as it's secure, it usually isn't a problem though. So now we got that off. We can slip her in between here. It should have enough room to slide out without having to remove anything else. But we'll find out here. Pull it up and out. And cool, we have our compressor. Okay. So it's seized internally. I'm going to take a look at the two of them here. See that they are slightly different. This does have a connector that goes a different direction here. So make sure we have the same one. And this connector connects the same, but just further away. So anyway, shouldn't be a big deal. We'll just tie that one off and we should be good. We're going to take our cover off and get ready to reinstall it. We'll remove our cover. What I like about these ones is they're vacuum sealed and it already has the oil in it. So you don't have to put the PAG oil in it. It's already installed in this unit, so you don't have to worry about that. So remove our covers here. And right now I'm just going to place it on there until I'm ready to play with that so nothing accidentally falls in there. And then we're going to weasel it down just like we took that one out. So we're just going to grab her now and let's go and fish her down. We went ahead and put the new O-rings on there. So that's good. And our line fell off, but it's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal. I'm going to go in and get down here and go ahead and fit those in there like so. And get that covered up as quickly as possible. There it goes. That's in. And we'll go ahead and get that bolt in there and torque that down before we go any further. Okay, so before we bolt this on, this is why I did it this way. It's easier to go ahead and hand tighten that bolt on as much as you can before you get it back into place, so it's a little less fighting around with it later on. But you should be able to get it just about snug. I do like these compressors that are pre-filled because I've already cycled them in and it's been in there a while. It's not going to be an issue. So this is good now. Just want to go ahead and find this wire here. Make sure it's in a position where we can connect it after we get this all put back together here. So I'm just going to probably leave it that way so we can connect it. We'll zip tie it out of the way because it's a little bit different of a design. Connected the plug, just put it around this way. I'll find a way to secure that out of the way because I don't want that to become an issue. We're going to go ahead and put the top bolt in here so we can get it started, and then we'll go to the bottom and get the same bolt. So the best way to do it, it's too dark. It was too dark to film a lot of it. You just want to start all your bolts and then maneuver it in the spot loosely and then tighten everything down. And you can see this wire harness goes this way now. There's a little piece on it there that you can tie into this over here, which is kind of stuck in there right now, but it kind of pushes it off to the side so that stays out of the way. And it just pushes, you guys can see what I'm doing here. So it's right there. I'm going to push it onto there. So it goes on there. So it keeps that wire up and tucked away. We'll put another zip tie on it, and then we're going to push this coolant line. This line over here. Just be careful this crap falls out of it. We'll fish this thing back around and go ahead and zip tie it back into place. Right, so we have this out of the way now, and then so you can see everything's all installed. The wire's tucked away. So now we can go ahead and work on our putting our belt back on. There's a special tool for that, and I'll show you how to use that right now. Alright, so we're going to install the new belt. You can get this one. I'll put everything in the description. These are a lot less expensive than the OEM belts. And then we have an install tool. This one's from Gates, so you can buy your own, but there's the part number on it. So we're going to go in and remove our serpentine belt, and then we can work on this stretch belt. All right, we're gonna take the serpentine 15 millimeter. It's gonna push down, slide it off the water pump, the belt off the water pump, and now we can work on that stretch belt down there. So we'll get that out of the way, and we'll come back to this after. All right, we're gonna get started down at the bottom and just rotate the crank. Sometimes this thing will just jump right on. Sometimes you have to use the tool. So I'll make sure it's not jumping off at the same time that it's going on, because it will try to do that on you sometimes. So I'm going to go ahead and crank her over and see if we can get her to walk on for us. Sometimes this works without the tool, sometimes you need the tool. So far it feels like it's working, so let's see. I can feel it jumping. Alright. Alrighty, I think we're on. Okay, so sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. And oh, she jumped right off. So that's what I was talking about. Like, she'll feel like she's going on, and then she jumps right off. So you have to watch both sides as you're doing this. So it's on the bottom. So what we're going to do is rotate the other way and get her to go back the way she's supposed to be going. It's always fun. Ask me why I know this is fun. Sometimes it's easier to use the tool, but sometimes I try to do it this way. And sometimes it works, and sometimes you end up with this situation. Okay, so a couple of rotations, we got her on. Just, you got to watch it, because it will try to walk off as you walk it on. That is not uncommon, unfortunately, for these. Kind of makes it a little more fun. So anyway, we're going to go and put our serpentine back on, and then we'll work here on the condenser. Okay, just want to reroute her, and we're going to pull her tight. Where I wrap it around a water pump there, and that's done. So we move on to the condenser here. Sorry, it's getting dark, guys. I have to do this when I'm not working, and fortunately that corresponds with the dark. So we have a 10 millimeter here, 10 millimeter here, and then this whole assembly will slide out, and then there's two 10 millimeters down there. So we should have enough room to weasel it out, but take the two 10 millimeters loose up here. But we'll see. We do got to take that line down there off. So I'm just going to get a pair of pliers to get down there and remove that. So that's the power steering cooling line. So pull that one off there. We're going to have to go from the bottom and get that one. We're going to pull this 13 millimeter off here, so we can pull this line loose, and then we'll start working from the bottom again. So we're going to go ahead and take the 10 millimeter right here loose, which is going to be for the low side line. See if we can get it in there without it being a problem. We're going to put in a universal joint, and then we got to take this other power steering cooling line off. We're going to have to go ahead and clog that so we don't spill fluid everywhere. So this is the same sort of thing. You want to use these angled. These are Harbor Freight. Also, you can get them Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. You just want to reach around, grab that, pull it off, and then we'll have this rag ready right here, because we're going to have fluid going everywhere. And then we'll pull the other side off. We can pull the bottom one out now. Just going to push down on it, and should push out. Actually, pull up on it. Apologize. Pull up on that. That'll pull up out of the way. There's no bolts at the bottom. This thing just pulls straight out. It's going to have fluid in it, so be careful with it. Pull it out level, and then go find a drain pan to drop it into. Now's a good time to get rid of any junk, but we're going to blow that out once we put the new lines, we put the new gaskets on. We're going to cut this thing out and get it installed. Okay, so we're going to drop the new one in nice and gently. Try not to run into anything. There's going to be two little channels in the bottom that you're going to drop it into here. One's on this side, kind of see it there, and over here. So I'm going to push that in there. That one drops in there, so we're almost right. That side's in. This side's being a little more reluctant than that side. Okay, so we got that and that. And then we'll go ahead and drop our line back in. We went ahead and removed those covers, so we can do this in one swoop here. Again, you always want to replace the condenser when doing work like this. Some people don't, and they think that they're going to save money or time, and really, honestly, you're not. You're going to actually create a problem for yourself in the future, because if any junk gets in there. So on this particular setup, you do have to remove the stud off this. I did not notice that until after I got it off, but the new one does not come with this stud. So let's go ahead and use a 4 millimeter and get this one removed, and go ahead and install it on the new one, so we can put the nut on here and we'll be good to go. Okay, get the stud in, so we can go ahead and tighten this down, and we can get to the bottom, get the rest of this whole apparatus done, and then put our intake. We're about ready. and then we'll go get that recharged. I did tell you this thing does make a mess, right? Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and put this line back on down here, like so. We'll put the pinch it back in. We're gonna put it in the bottom position because from the factory they do it from the top, which makes it really difficult to get that line on. And then we'll put our 13 millimeter up there. But first, we need to wipe this area down because I really don't want to get rained on down by power steering fluid that's dripped everywhere. So anyway, I should have probably just drained the power steering or sucked it out before I did this because it just made a mess, as you can see. So look it up in here. Gonna put our nut in there. Get it tightened up. Good. Grab our joint here. And tighten her up. And make sure it looks ready. Pull this line there like so. Just pull a little bit back so I can push this thing on the rest of the way. Push it like so. And then we're going to pinch her and go ahead and push her on there. Pinch her down. Probably got to push it in just a little bit more. I like how that's sticking out a little bit. And then we'll do the other side. Same thing. Okay. Should be good. Alrighty. Just pass that. And then we'll clean her up. And then we'll have to add some power steering fluid. Same thing on this side. We're going to do it from the bottom, so God forbid we ever have to come back down here. These clips, the biggest problem was they were from the top. And honestly, I can understand when the car is being assembled, that's easier. Old Firebirds used to be a problem with this because they were top-down construction, which is cool when you're assembling the car, but not so cool when you're working on it. So we'll get over here. Everything looks pretty clean now. And we're about done at the bottom here. Now we have to come back. I'll hose all this off, but yeah, I got a good amount of fluid everywhere. As you can see, made quite the mess. All right, we're all buttoned up here. Throw our tools out to the side. Double check everything, looks good. All right, we'll give her a test start and see where we're at. All right, sorry, it's the next morning, guys. In order to put fluid, especially if you ran this thing low like I did, you do have to turn the steering wheel, add fluid, leave the cap off, turn your wheel from side to side about 20 times, and this will get the air out of the system. Once you get all the air out, then you can start it, do it again. It's very important. The front end of the car has to be lifted. Do not have weight on the car when you're doing this. Otherwise, you're going to create a whole lot more bubbles, and those bubbles are very difficult to get out. So as you can see, I'm going back and forth. We're going to do this 20 times, and then we'll do it about 10 more times once we start the car with the car still off the ground, the front end off the ground. You can do this with a jack, or if you have a lift, you can do it on the lift. So we'll get this done, get the air out, and then we'll go get her system recharged. All right, took her to the shop, had her recharged, no issue there. $50 to discharge it, $50 to recharge it with the same freon that came out of it, so that was inexpensive. The compressor and the condenser together, they were kind of pricey. It was almost $400, but it's best to do it right one time than have to do it multiple times, saving a few bucks. So I'll put all the parts that I used in a link in the description. Those will be affiliate links for the most part. That does help the channel. Also, just a quick note, make sure you use the Prestone or the General Motors power steering fluid. Do not put ATF in these. I know some people think that you can still do that. You cannot. Also, you need to get the front end off the ground, turn it 10 times each direction before you even start it, and then 10 times after. Otherwise, you're going to have a noise that's going to be annoying and impossible to fix. So thanks again. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the description. Almost 6,000 subscribers. Thanks again for viewing in. If you are not subscribed, please